Kliff Kingsbury, Cardinals head coach, spoke to reporters via conference call on Tuesday and addressed, among other things, the development of Kyler Murray. And he said this regarding Murray's second season. We'd love to have Kyler back for the on-field offseason program. Do I think it's going to stunt his growth? I don't think so. I think he's figured out what he has to do, and I expect him to take a big step. And, of course, that's in reference to the reality that there will likely be no on-field offseason program for any team, which will be a problem for younger players who need those reps in the offseason to reach their full potential. And we were with Kingsbury at the scouting combine, Chris, and it was clear that Kingsbury believes that Murray is on the brink of becoming a superstar. I compare him to Patrick Mahomes in 2018, Lamar Jackson in 2019. It could be Kyler Murray in 2020. Second season explodes as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but it's going to be harder to do that without the opportunity to continue to work and understand and grow and develop in the offseason. I know it's something that's going to affect all teams equally, but it's going to affect the younger quarterbacks more than it's going to affect the older ones who don't need the offseason program.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. Now, the good thing is, for a Kyler Murray, it's the same coaching staff as last year, and it's the same offense he's run all through college. So at least there's not more learning to do there. Yes, is he going to miss out on lack of maybe more knowledge of defenses? And let's deep dive into certain disguises and things that teams did to us last year. Yes, he's going to miss out on that. But nonetheless, I don't look at that and go, oh, man, that's a season breaker for Kyler Murray. No. Hey, hopefully that this COVID-19, the restrictions can loosen up at some point to where he'll be able to go out and throw passes with DeAndre Hopkins and other receivers on his team to just at least work on throwing, timing, rhythm, all of those type of things. But ultimately, Mike, I mean, my thoughts are like you. And I know, I mean, when we asked Kliff Kingsbury, and even when I've talked to him about Kyler Murray off camera, his face lights up. I mean, this is a guy that I think, Kliff Kingsbury had his eye on for a long, long time as a freaky athlete and player altogether. And I'm with you, man. I think he's going to explode onto the scene this year. I do. With them improving their offense a little bit, the Kenyon Drake addition, and now, of course, with D. Hopkins there, Mike, that is going to bring his game to another level or another stratosphere. The one would be more concerned about, just along those lines, would be like a Daniel Jones, who is total regime change, right? And now you got a new offensive coordinator and a new head coach. I think life will be harder on him as far as when he jumps back into training camp more than a Kyler Murray will here in the 2020 season.
Well, the challenge for the coaching staff will be to come up with the best possible transition from what they did last year, understanding what they did last year, what Daniel Jones knows, and maybe incorporate concepts slowly, not just put him in a position where he's got to pick up a brand new offense right out of the gates, as everybody is still trying to deal with this upside-down calendar that the NFL is going to have. Where do we want to see improvement from Kyler Murray? Unlike Mahomes, who played one game as a rookie, and Lamar Jackson, who played maybe half the season, we saw Kyler Murray wire to wire, and we saw greatness. We saw Offensive Rookie of the Year. Where does he need to take that next step?
Well, Mike, I don't look at like any part of his game and go, man, he leaves the pocket too early, or man, he's not very good in the pocket. He can't over, I don't see any glaring weaknesses as far as just he needs to play and more support around him in general. But, I mean, as far as playing the position, the kid's a natural. He's pure. I mean, it's like Patrick Mahomes where, yeah, you go sometimes, ooh, I wish he would step into that throw a little bit better and not just rely on his great talent. Other than that, though, Mike, I just don't see anything where I go, oh, man, if he doesn't correct this could be some crazy year. He's got great mechanics, great feel in the pocket. He looks to throw the ball first. When he does throw it, he's got a special arm. He can throw it a lot of different ways, throws it on the run. So, I don't have an answer for you there to say, oh, he's really got to work on this. No, I just think he's got to play, and they got to do more to open up their offense and expand that and just help him with support around him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the game slowing down a little bit more and getting Kyler Murray to the point where before the play, he knows what the defense is going to be doing or has a better idea of it, because at that point, he can use his physical gifts even more effectively if he doesn't have to process, right, in those first few frenetic seconds of a play, what's really going on. Once his brain begins to become that supercomputer that has seen all of the permutations and all of the options and all of the movement pre-snap and knows what's coming, and he can impose his will physically when he knows or has reason to know what the defense is doing, that's when he is going to be an incredible talent. He already is an incredible talent. We just didn't pay any attention to it because they didn't win enough games. They weren't in prime time. We didn't get to see it live. I remember watching in the preseason. First throw I saw him make, the ball explodes off of his hand. The ball explodes into the hands of the receiver. It's this tiny little guy that's not supposed to be generating that kind of power, that kind of velocity, that kind of violence with a football, and he does it. He's going to be a special player for years to come, and I don't think that this absence of an offseason program is going to affect him the way it could affect others.
Yeah, I agreed. I mean, we kind of stated all the reasons why. And one, this is a guy that's very mature. I mean, just, in our little crossover with him 2 years at the Super Bowl, having to meet him there, and then just everything you see, the way he handles himself in front of the podium, the way he handles himself on the football field, and the way he plays the position, it's very mature. It really is. That's where I was blown away by him and Daniel Jones last year. Daniel Jones, the same thing. They do a lot of the little nuanced things that a quarterback does that you don't see till maybe year 3 or 4, and they already got that part down. And that's where I'm excited about Kyler Murray. I mean, yeah, I think he's a superstar in the waiting, and I think he will explode onto the scene this year more in the national scene and national media.
And I do have to say this on the way to break. I thank Kliff Kingsbury for bringing back a phrase that I first heard in the 70s about stunting your growth. That used to be the argument against cigarettes, Chris. Not that it'll give you cancer, but if you're a kid and you're smoking, it will stunt your growth. I don't know that there was any evidence of that whatsoever, but that was what they used to get kids to not smoke in the 70s.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.